I drank 2 yerba mates. I'm like, my eyes aren't even like really open. It's like, okay. Hi.
There you go. They're open now.
That doesn't look creepy at all. That should get me lots of dates. Hello. Hi, are you talking to me? You're very attractive. God.
Oh. All right, my dear. Well, what do you want to focus on today? What would you like to talk about?
You're the boss.
Well, actually, let's talk about that for a minute. Because from my perspective, this is very much a collaboration. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're a team. And so when we work as a team in every way, we get better results.
I understand.
Right? Like me getting you results, definitely, that's what I want and that's what you want. So we have a common goal. And we have to collaborate in order to reach that goal.
Right.
Right. And so that's something, that probably we can work on, and that we talked about a little bit before, is like working on that and how we collaborate when we're talking. So one of the ways that we collaborate when we're talking is taking turns.
That's something I've been working on, actually. People are like, you monologue and you talk over me and you interrupt me. But then also someone was like, so my friend was down here and her wife called on my phone, and my friend goes, is this what you can hear? And I go, yeah. She goes, no wonder you interrupt everyone and don't sound like you're listening. You can't hear on your phone. And so I'm getting a new phone. But then I talked to my sponsor and I was like, you owe me an amends, because it has been my phone. He goes, how long have I worked with you? And I said, eight years. He said, how long have you had this phone? I said, 2 years. He goes, yeah. My dad's like, you've been doing this your whole life. Get out of here, Ames. You're performing. I don't buy it. Nice try. I was like, oh, okay. What do I want to focus on? Well, so I was sort of being inappropriate with my chiropractor, and you were like, don't flirt, you're in withdrawal, you're not even allowed to flirt. And I was like, okay, like, as I Googled new snots, I was like, bye. It's like, so it's been fine, except that I noticed that when I'm really, really uncomfortable, like I got really angry, and then I was like, I have to get out of myself. I was like, I gotta contact someone, I gotta like smoke, I gotta buy something. Like I just was like, this being in withdrawal when you're also like whatever, when it's weird. It was really weird. I didn't do anything, but I was very uncomfortable and I didn't dig it. And I got really angry. Like Joe Pesci angry, and like screamed at people. But I think part of that is hormonal, which doesn't make it okay, but it's like, so I did go to the chiropractor, and I was very pulled my energy back and acted totally appropriate. And except that I did say, do I feel fatter? And he said, you do feel like you have more meat on your bones. And I was like, okay, good. But that was more like a health thing. I didn't mean that to be flirty at all. Because he like presses on your back and sort of stretches your back out first. And then I did notice that my fly was open. And I said, oh, my fly is open. And I was like, oops. Well, that was just like me, like just, I wasn't like trying to be provocative, at least not consciously.
I loved what you said before about I wasn't inappropriate, at least not consciously. Because that's sort of what this whole thing has been about is, right? You had the opportunity to go to this place where there's someone who you often flirt with and be conscious about everything that you were doing and saying and how it might or might not affect the other person. And so you felt that. So you were really conscious of the way that you said, oh, my fly is open, and the way that you set
That
it
I was
up.
just came out of my mouth because I looked down and I noticed and I was like, oh my God, how creepy. Like I was embarrassed. I wasn't
Hmm.
like, oh, it's so hot. Like get in there. I was like, oh God, like my fly's open. Like what am I, 11? Like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, but I did notice that and I've kept my 30 days away from that person that I was inappropriate with. It's it's only I have 5 more days till I can contact them. But who's counting?
Uh-huh.
Um I do miss his friendship. I do miss his friendship and gossiping with him. Um I did notice that I said something that the transference then went, where can I go? Immediately. And like yesterday I said to someone I work with, I was like, then all of a sudden it was like, oh, he's so funny and he's like really working hard for me and like he can put up with my like anger issues and doesn't take it seriously. And like I was like, I said to him, like, we're gonna end up married, like we're totally gonna end up being married. And I was like, and he was just like, and he gave me the answer that I gave him the time that he goes, who knows what the future holds. I was like, fuck you. I mean, I've never had a filter since I was a little girl, and it definitely has gotten worse with seizures and like all the drug abuse.
Well, let me ask you this. What are you getting out of that?
What am I getting out of what?
Not having a filter.
um, freedom. I think it's a way I create space for myself so I'm not uncomfortable. I think it's a way that I dominate other people. Ooh, ooh. Did I just say that aloud? I think it's a way I dominate other people.
Beautiful.
I don't know. It's a way to be special. It's a way to break the rules. It's a way to flaunt my nose at authority. It's a way to show I don't care what you think.
And here's the thing. Oftentimes when we start processing things and we start really looking at ourselves, yeah, there's stuff that like, I don't really love that so much. Now that have looked at it, you've noticed it, you're admitting it, you have the option to keep it or throw it away, uncover,
I think the
discover,
problem is
discard.
I'm sorry. I get a lot of kudos for that. You're so real.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, you're so real and raw and like blah blah. So I
Mm-hmm.
get a lot of positive reinforcement for it.
Absolutely. When you said I'm sorry just then, why did you say I'm sorry?
I interrupted you. We just talked about that.
Good. So we'll just keep noticing that too. We'll just keep noticing it. That's all. It's not a judgment. It's not bad and wrong. It just is what it is. So, and thank you. So yeah, all of this that you're noticing, you are getting something out of it, right?
Yeah.
Um, and what do you, so there's something that you gain, but what do you lose?
I did get in trouble. Like I do work part-time for someone and not in trouble, but my individuality and not being used to being part of a corporate organization got me a little bit in trouble because
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to being the loner and like not, and like also I saw myself triangulate a little bit. Like, well, they told me not to do that. Like, don't blame me. They like talk to that. Like, instead of having united front of like, well, we here at blah blah, because I've never worked for an organization ever. So it was me kind of dodging stuff and wanting to be liked and like, and then I thought I was going to get canned, but I didn't. I just got, like, hey, we're in a united front here. And I was like, claro, I was like, got it. Okay, but I noticed that. I was like, ooh, I said, I haven't really worked for an organization. I'm sort of me, myself, and I get away with everything. And so I totally hear you, and I will correct that. Um,
It's interesting because it's similar to the conversation that we were just having at the beginning about collaboration, right? Like a
mm,
united front, you and me collaborating, taking turns. You know what I'm saying? And what you said in the beginning of you made a really interesting observation. You said, it's part of how I push people away. I make space for myself, right? Making space between yourself and the other person.
yeah, because I'm
Um,
scared in the world. I'm scared, no one knows that.
yeah.
Like, I'm terrified. My style is to like be truthful and raw and like, you know, overshare. I overshare always. I want a 5-shot latte. They're like, 5 shots? Yeah, I did. I shot coke in my neck. It'll be fine. Like, everyone's like, God, shut up. It's like, it's overshare. It's always that. Always. And part of that is shame. Ooh, over my past and not feeling like I'm normal and can fit in, and so I'm gonna stand out and be rebellious and own it in your face. Oh, yikes.
Wow. Wow, honey. I mean, and here's the thing, like if you're making a choice to overshare and feeling rebellious because you want to be real and you're choosing, this is who you're choosing to be, that's one thing. And if it's unconscious and things just fall out of your mouth, then you have the opportunity to start noticing these things and make conscious choices. You said something earlier too about I use it to dominate people. Well, here's the thing. How does it affect your relationships when you
These
attempt to
are
dominate?
say again?
How does it affect your relationships when you attempt to dominate the other person?
I end up probably apologizing and feeling bad, to be honest. Um, I'm lucky I have people who don't take it seriously and kind of just like, no one's really like my close friends are not afraid of me. They're just like, oh, whatever, Amy. Like, you're watching too many prison shows. Like, good luck. You weigh 115 pounds. Like, whatever. How does it work? I'm dependent on people. So I'm dependent on these certain people. And so what I noticed was I got really scared around a project and I felt very impotent. And I felt like maybe he was lying to me or dodging me. And so I raged because I'm impotent, because this person holds my fucking future in their hands. And so it's my way to manipulate and feel safe. It's my way to make sure I get what I need, as is the flirting. How do I
Great.
get what I fucking need? How do I make sure I get my needs met? I can dominate. I can be flirtatious and sexual. You know what I mean? Like, I can be like, scary and threatening. I can be needy and be like, Daddy, please. Like, I've seen it all. I've seen the whole gamut of me trying to manipulate, and it's all to get security or what I
Yes.
want.
Yeah. Absolutely, honey. Which is why there's no like you're bad and wrong, right? Because you're just another little human who's a work in progress, who's trying to get her needs met and feel safe. That's all. And you acknowledged before that you do this when you're scared.
Yeah.
And we all get scared, right?
I think it's
And
like a weird like survival tactic from childhood. Do you know what I mean? With child, like divorced parents and all of that kind of stuff. And so it's like it's a coping mechanism that maybe isn't really serving anymore, but I don't really know. I think if I felt more powerful and was more independent, maybe I wouldn't feel like I needed to do that. But I feel like I need to manipulate other people because I'm dependent on other people still, very much so, for different things.
Sure. And we all are, but there's a way for us to be interdependent rather than codependent,
Right.
right? So, and having relationships that involve collaboration, which is, kind of our theme today, where, yes, there's a mutuality involved, right? Where there's give and take. So you don't have to manipulate because you have an understanding from the outset of here's what I do for you and here's what you do for me. And that absolutely is something that happens in romantic relationships in the early stages of dating is we figure out here's what I do for you and here's what you do for me.
Yeah, but okay, this is something actually I was just looking at with my sponsor, which is in friendships, everyone does everything for me and gives me free stuff and whatever. And everyone's like, why do they do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm shiny. Like, I have no fucking idea. Like, I don't know. And I don't, and I can be very selfish and entitled and take and feel no whatever to give back. And I'm sorry if this makes me sound gross and people don't like me, but I'm being honest. Like, this is honest. In romantic relationships, it's different. I'll do whatever the fuck you want me to do, so you love me and don't leave. I will not ask for what I need. I will button my lip. I will go above and beyond. I will let the scales be like this, and I give too much and you don't give enough, and I'm okay with that, and because I'm afraid if I say, hey, blah blah, I need you to meet me here, or I don't feel they're gonna leave. They leave anyway. So I think it's interesting. I don't do this in romantic relationships ever. I put up with an enormous amount of shit, and I'm a completely different person. Not a completely different person, but I certainly am the giver, where in my friendships, I'm the taker. Ooh.
There we go. There we go, babe.
Can we not air this one? Everyone's like, ew, she's a bad person.
No, not at all, sweetheart. What you're describing is that you're anxious in romantic relationships and avoidant in friendships. And there are many people who have this, right? And
I'm trying to be better. Like, even people are like, well, can you help me with this? And even if I don't want to, I fucking do it. And then I'm like, you got to get back. Don't be such a selfish bitch, Amy. Like, do it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And even in this session, I can see you listening. I can see you working more on the turn taking, which is super important because here's the deal, babe. Like, if you're talking and don't allow the other person the opportunity to reflect back to you what they've heard, how do you know that they heard you? And to be heard and to be seen is to be loved, which is what you want.
Ooh. I don't trust that people will take care of me. And sometimes they haven't. And doctors don't give a shit. I've been trying to get into the gynecologist, not to be too fucking TMI, for fucking weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And I leave messages and they say, they'll call you back by noon. And then they don't. And then I'm like, what's going on? I've left 4 messages, and they go, well, you need a new referral. And I go, well, it would have been nice if someone had told me that instead of me just calling. Like, fuck you. I'm going to take care of me because I put my life in so many people's hands and I've gotten fucked.
Well, there you go. Because the bottom line is it's nobody's job to take care of you but you. And listen, it's one thing to be annoying and to be fierce about taking care of yourself, right?
Right.
It's another thing to manipulate and dominate because of the way it will affect your relationships, not only with your dad, but obviously with your coworkers, with people that you've dated.
He's like, I'm like, bring it. Da-da-da. And he's like, oh my God, like, are you serious? Like, give me a break. Like, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I got it. He goes, stop, leave it. We're fine. Moving on. And so I feel like because I felt like he knew me and accepted me And I felt that way, and he hasn't left, and I've raged and flipped out on him so much. I'm like, this is my person.
So I wonder if that's also kind of what you're looking for just in general when you do this stuff, is just you're testing them to see if they'll stay. What's that face mean?
Yeah. I'm going to be, yeah. Do you still love me? I'm going to act outside the box. Show me you still love me, accept me. Mm-hmm. Of course.
Okay. And that makes sense. And listen, like I said, all of this stuff it is what it is, right? It just, and our work together is about helping make all of this stuff conscious, and for you to see, you know, how it affects your relationships so that you can make choices so that you can have better relationships moving forward. You know, there's no, like, when I ask you questions about shit, even if I look smug, it's not because like I got the answer I want. It's not like, ooh, I got the answer I wanted.
I caught you, and I'm like, ooh.
No.
Yeah, I want love. I want to be my full obnoxious self, and you to go, I still love you.
Of course.
That to me is, yeah.
And what I'm saying is,
doesn't everyone want that? I mean, like,
yeah.
I've never been someone who's like, I'm going to fit in this box to be what you want, and then you're going to love me. Oh, except in romantic relationships. Bullshit. That's
exactly.
bullshit.
Exactly. Right? So it's two sides of the same coin. And
you've seen me. I'll just eat crow. I will so eat crow, and so tiptoe, and so take like shitty fucking behavior and be like, it's okay. Like, I don't think I'm going to do that moving forward.
Well, that's what we're aiming for, is how can you not do that moving forward? And how can you have a balanced approach to both your friendships and your romantic relationships that's secure across the board, where you don't have to dominate and manipulate, and you also don't have to eat crow. Right? You can just be secure. And you can keep being who you are, because nobody wants you to stop being Amy, right? We love you.
There's only one. That's what a massage therapist said to me when I was living in Paris. You know, there's only one Amy Dresner in the world. Thanks God. That's what he said.
Like, thanks God.
Thanks God. Thanks God. It's like, what?